Hey, my friends, Kevin here. I was just recently thinking about the delay between marketing and clients and, results. And, one of the things that I advocate for is creating a program, something that is always on, something that you can, like a radio station, you could turn it on. There's always music playing. There's always something going on in that station. And that's kind of what you want your marketing to feel like as an expert, as a professional service provider, as a marketer. And it does take time for things to bake and to marinate, and it does take time for connections to be made, and for people who are maybe not even your direct clients, but people who are in your network or people who could potentially refer you to their direct clients to take notice that you're creating content and that you're always going to be around, so that they think of you first when someone comes along that they can refer you to. Or if you're lucky, the person who may potentially work with you starts following your content and then eventually signs up for things. Another version of this is that you create enough content and you produce a program. You're trying to create an ongoing series of content such that when a client does come along and when they do think about potentially hiring you, they are seeing a huge list of content that you've produced in the past, so that they can now go back and binge it. They can consume your various ideas, and they can see that the ideas you have actually have some credibility to them, that there's more to you than potentially other people, especially if your positioning is good and your content is focused on a clear target market. That makes everything else more compelling, and it makes you much more compelling of a hire relative to other options. So yes, we want to create this program. Now, the problem is we get really busy. We do our client work, and then it can get really difficult to maintain our marketing program. And I think it was Jeff Bezos once was asked, what do you think on meeting or exceeding the financial targets of this, say, quarter? What are your thoughts on it? And he said something along the lines of, this quarter and the results were baked in 4 years ago. And I'm totally butchering it. It's something like that. He said, it's the stuff that we were doing that long ago that is now producing results. And it's the same with your marketing. So even if your marketing is not generating activity, engagement, or clients in the way you want it to right away, just know that it takes a long time for people to learn that you have a program, essentially, to use that terminology, to then eventually tune into it, to then warm up to you and the idea of hiring you, to then eventually consider working with you and or referring you. And so you want to be thinking of this in a long-term game. And when you get busy, remembering to go back and to continue doing your marketing, because that's when it's most important. And not just because you want to bake in the quarters, several months down or several years down the line, because that's important too. We want to be thinking in years, not in days, weeks, or months. If we're thinking immediate and short term for client acquisition, something's gone wrong. But yeah, we want to be thinking in longer terms, because that's ultimately what's going to pay off the most for you. So I just wanted to kind of give this idea to you and just remind you that, as we get busy, it's easy to not do your clients, to not do your marketing, and then to kind of coast on the clients that you do have. But remember that even sometimes marketing can work short term. Sometimes it does, showing up in the right place at the right time, like a conference or an event, or even just a good blog post or a LinkedIn post that happens to meet the right person at the right time. Sometimes that can pay off in the short term. But the reality is, and in addition, when that does happen, you want to be in a position that says, hey, I currently have a little bit of a waiting list and I'm not taking on new clients immediately. I'll have to see how things are going over the coming months, but I would love to potentially work with you. Or like, as a situation I'm in right now, I've basically got one slot left that I could put a client into if I wanted to on my consulting side. And I've got two prospects of a similar size, multi-location co-working businesses. And these, basically, when you have two buyers potentially looking for your services, as Daniel Priestley would say, that's enough to push up your prices, because all it takes for something to sell at above market rate is two buyers for one item. And so whether that goes for an auction or buying a house, it doesn't matter. So having two buyers gives you the flexibility to say, hey, here are the prices I need to charge for you in my final slot of my capacity. If you want, if you can do that, great. I'd love to get working with you. And if it's not right for you, if that's too high, maybe in a few months we can talk again and I can potentially give you something a little bit better of a price. Now, I don't know if I'm going to use that language necessarily, but that's kind of going on in my head and gives me, the seller, a little bit of leverage. So yeah, you want to be thinking in terms of creating a program, a body of work that your future potential clients can tap into, and a beating heart, if you will, a beating drum of content that goes out and gets your name out in the network and to potential clients. And you want to be thinking, even if I'm busy, even if I'm full, I want to be oversubscribed. I want to, which is a Daniel Priestley book / term. I want to be in a position where I'm at or close to capacity, such that I can be very selective about who I work with. I can charge the fees that I want, top fees. And so you always want to maintain that more demand than supply if possible. And that just gives you a lot of leverage, because the person who's most willing to walk away in a negotiation is the one who's going to get the best deal. And so you want to be in a position where you have multiple options, and you are ideally one of the best in your space. And that's why niching to a point where you can look everywhere and not find a suitable alternative to you that's at least as qualified, that would be the ideal situation. So just wanted to share this idea with you, thinking in terms of creating a program, an ever-present, ongoing beating heart, if you will, of your content, specifically with your content that lives on your website and gets distributed on social media platforms and any other place. Having that as a body of work, as a reference point, and a place to drive demand such that you are oversubscribed. And that's just the idea that I want to share with you today. The work you're doing now is going to bake in the long term. And if you're lucky, it'll produce results that at some point will intersect and demand will exceed supply, and you'll be in a very, very good position. So that's it for now, my friends. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.